Hey, caregiver. Sometimes the hardest thing to get rid of is not the thing in your home that's taking up space, it's the feelings and the emotion attached to it. We're going to talk to you about how you can work with your loved one and yourself in stepping away from items that really are not serving you. You don't want to miss it. So allow me to transition a little bit to the emotional side of these things in our lives. And I want to first gush on you a little bit. I have spent a lot of time on your website, and there's two blogs. One I found about a month ago, and then another one I found last week. The older one I'm going to talk about second. The first one, you did a blog on your website about grief, and if it's okay, I put the links to both in the description below so people can look at them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I want to say how you laid that grief blog out. I would recommend people read it before they need it, because usually when you go through a situation and you've got that information, as you're going through each step, things are going to pop into your head and you're going to remember what you've read. But the way you laid it out was perfect. It was very bullet pointed to where a grieving family is not going to look at the flowery. They want the meat and the potatoes. You know, the Yiddish word takis. They want the meat, the potatoes, and they are going to be looking at, you have it broken out to where in their grief process, here's the first part. Let's just take the first chunk of the blog. We can use that information. And then when we're done with that, now we have our piles, but we still have this other pile we have to break down even more. So then you do the second part of the blog. It was perfectly laid out. You can tell that you yourself have gone through the grieving process. You've been blessed enough to love someone enough to grieve them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also worked with other people that have done that. So through those processes, you've been able to lay this blog out in such a way that somebody going through it can totally read it, understand it, grasp different parts of it, and then walk themselves through it. And I highly recommend reading it. The other blog, that was the one I found a couple months ago, you're smiling, was the lime green couch. And the photography and the name caught me, made me click. The storyline truly sucked me in because I was thinking of all the lime green couches in my life. Those items that our families are loved, are cherished, are in every picture for every holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go in anymore because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But to understand that you took the time to pull in your emotional side, your social worker side, and your organizer side, and truly realize the process you went through. And then you were able to say, okay, my clients are doing this too. So when you're with your client and they're like, but this statue, and you're like, oh, that's their lime green couch. So many belongings have memories and have emotional attachments. How can families approach those conversations about downsizing with their loved ones through concern and compassion and respect from your perspective?
Yeah, it can be very difficult for sure, because the emotions that just come to the surface with all of it.
Like just talking about it, I was,
I know, me too. And I just go right back to that lime green couch and thinking about those memories and letting go. And as a caregiver, we're constantly, just navigating that, trying to navigate it with our families on what's meaningful and not meaningful. And I'm different from my three sisters. I have one sister that's super sentimental, and she's the keeper of everybody's stuff. We're talking her husband that passed away, her in-laws that passed away, our parents that passed away, our sister-in-law that passed away. There's things that she's felt responsible for keeping. And as time has gone on and we've lost more family members, then we've had more conversations about, okay, what's special to you? What things make sense to you? And if it doesn't make sense for you to keep it anymore, then let's expand it out to the other family members. Give them a shot at it. What do they want? We just had our aunt pass away, who was 91 years old. I was
Oh, I'm
her.
so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
You know, I cherished all the time I had with her, and you know, she already told me, she's like, Susie, you're going to be my gal. You're going to, because you got all the experience, and you can set yourself apart. You know, you can do the logistics, but then you can also be my niece at the same time. So I was her durable power of attorney for everything. Long distance caregiver. I live in West Michigan. She was in the Detroit area, so I was coordinating care for her on that end. And luckily, we had wonderful family friends that were over there that were helping too. But she was positioning me well for the last couple of years. She brought me into her financial planning meetings. She brought me in so I would know exactly what was in her trust document. She brought me in to tell me, okay, this was my lawyer. This is where this is found. And when things started taking a turn at the end of last year, then I knew things already. And then it was just a matter of fine tuning it and saying, okay, I need to know these specific questions, because I also did our uncle's estate and trust and everything back in 2013. That's where I wrote the Lime Green Couch blog about that experience. And because neither one of them had children. So me and my sisters are the ones that are her heirs. And so I, you know, knowing the business that I work in and all of the estates I've worked on over the years, you know, I had really stressed to all my family members, make sure your estate planning is there. It's going to be really important for the caregivers and the family that after you do pass, that those things, you know, are in place. But with my aunt, we did all those stories together before she passed. I brought all my sisters over and my nieces who could go, and we all sat with her, and she was very, very cognitive aware. She was just having, things were just, her body was just not cooperating anymore. And she's like, Susie, I think this is probably going to be it pretty soon. And I said, all right, these conversations are really important. Let's talk about all these meaningful things that our grandparents, your mom and dad, and my dad, mom and dad, you know, all handed down to her. What things were important to you that we need to be aware of? And she had written notes and put things on the bottom. Now, I know not everybody has time or wants to do that. Even if you take a sheet of paper, and as that person's talking about things around the room that you're sitting in, just make some notes so you have some understanding. And then you know what to do with those items when that person's no longer on this earth. Yeah. And you have an idea, a strategy of where to go with it. Some people just really have a hard time thinking about a loved one passing, or just the mortality of ourselves. I just turned 60 myself. I've had my own health issues. And so all of this is very front and center for me to make sure I am set up correctly, knowing how well things work when you do have an estate plan that's set up well. Right. And you have talked to your family member about what your needs and wishes are, because right. It's so important. Yeah. But just starting the conversation to say, hey, you know, I just watched this video on YouTube, and it was just talking about doing some estate planning, and I just want to make sure that I'm honoring you right now where you're at with how you're living and your environment and how you're functioning, and also thinking about when you aren't here anymore. How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to, how do you want us to handle your possessions, your things? And of course, everybody's going to be different on how they respond to that, but just starting small with those conversations is so huge.
Right. And there's a great disservice in not having that conversation. And I've collected an item from someone I loved, and when they came to my house, I was like, I really cherish this. And they're like, that old thing. So I also thought they had an imprint on it, and they didn't. So having those conversations too, and not even like, well, you know, after you pass away, where do you want these things to go? But just tell me the story about this. Why do you have this here? Why is it displayed? And they may just be like, because it was pink and I love pink. Okay. So, yeah. You know that mom doesn't care about that. It was just pink, you know, because
Oh, I was just going to say, even if you don't want to write down everything, just record them talking. Just say, hey, I'm just going to record this so I can remember what we're talking about.
Mhm.
And that is so invaluable.
Yeah.
Just because people are like, I don't want to write all that down. Okay, just record it so you can listen to it later and
Right.
find out what because in the moment things may gloss right over you and you're not even thinking about it. But after you go back and listen, and you think, oh, okay, that's really what they meant. Okay.
Or you could see something ugly, and it could be, well, your grandfather, when he was in World War II, was overseas and found this and thought of your grandmother, and he brought it back for her to show a symbol of his love. Oh, well, that's something important. That's got a story. There's a background. There's lineage there, and maybe we should think about it. I'm going to be doing a 2-day workshop on telling your life story, and
Oh,
this
wonderful.
kind of lends to that too. What's the story behind this, and why does it matter? First of all, let me say this. I celebrate the life of your aunt, and I smile because you had that time to make that special relationship with her. And to me, that is the biggest gift, because even through grief, and I apologize for your grief, we can hold fast to the relationships we've cultivated, and knowing that we can carry their life on with them, even without them, because it's within us and it's part of us, and we can share that story. So I apologize, and I'm so sorry for her loss, but I also am celebrating with you because you had that bond with her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. That was a wealth of information. There was so much packed in that video. Oh my. I did you like it? If so, click the like button, make a comment below, and ask Susie a question. She is more than willing to come and answer questions for us. And I think I've mentioned in video 1 and in the intro video that she was on Hoarders twice on TLC, and she is willing to come back on and talk all about her experiences. Let's bring her back on. I'm kind of curious myself. But we need you all to like and to comment so that she knows you guys want her back. Our next video next week is all about how to handle situations when emotions run high, when families are trying to help their loved ones downsize, or when a family has an estate, when their loved one passes on. Please stick around. It's going to be great. So until we talk again, blessings.